Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and Merry Christmas. Today I'm going to be doing a minimal Christmas decorating video. Last year I decorated my house for the first time because it was the first Christmas we spent in our new home, and I went to town a little bit. It was quite cluttered, and whilst I really liked some of the pieces I used, looking back on it, it really was just over the top, and by being over the top it just didn't have that nice cozy look that I was going for. It just ended up being a little bit cluttered. And so today I'm really going to be minimizing the decorating that I do for Christmas. I still want it to have that Christmassy feeling, but I also want it to have that crisp, clean, minimal aesthetic. This is also going to help with decluttering my Christmas decorating items, and that's kind of happened in two parts. So to get ready to start decorating, I've taken out all the items that I want to use that I think will really contribute to the minimal but festive look that I'm going for. And so anything that I've not used is already on a bit of a declutter pile. And then of the items that I would like to use, I'm going to see what works, what looks good, but I'm definitely not going to use every single Christmas item that I've picked out, and therefore some of those that I don't use will also end up being decluttered. So it's kind of like a two-stage situation for decluttering. So why is decorating minimally for the holidays something that I think can be a good idea? Well, the first is that it's time efficient. It's not going to take you a lot of time to get your house feeling festive and decorated for the Christmas period. It's also low cost because you don't need to spend a lot of money on lots of fancy and expensive items. I know a lot of minimalists out there do a few DIY items to decorate their house at Christmas, and because you don't use as many items, you're saving money. The general atmosphere is clutter-free and calming. Your Christmas decorating does not have to be over the top. I understand that is a look that some people absolutely love, and by all means, you do you, but if you are into a more clutter-free, calm, relaxing environment, then decorating minimally for the holidays might be a good way to go. And the last thing is that you don't have to make too many changes or alterations to your current living space. And that's something that's really important for me as someone who lives in a small house. I had to make two small changes because of my small space, and one was just to push the sofa along a little bit so the Christmas tree could fit to the side here, and there was originally a plant here which I've just moved to the other side of the room, and that is it. There were no major furniture moving situations, rearranging, because I'm not going to fill my space with a lot of decor, so I've not got to make the room for it. So before we jump right into it and I show you what I'm going to be using to decorate my space and how I'm going to do it, just a couple of suggestions for your minimal look. My first piece of advice is to choose some sort of colour palette. This doesn't have to be a really bland colour palette just because you're going more minimal. If you wanted to go for traditional reds, greens, golds, you could do that. For me, I am going for more neutral and natural colours, greens, even sort of browns, woody textures, golds, whites, those sorts of things. That's really what I'm going for in my colour palette today. For your items that don't just go onto the tree, pick out a few statement pieces. They might be your favourites, or they might be the ones that go with the look you're trying to achieve. Pick out a few, don't go mad and don't pick loads. Keep it simple. You do not need a lot of items to make your space feel festive and cozy. You don't have to use every single ornament or decorative item that you have to decorate your house at Christmas. I know this can be difficult because we have nice memories attached to some of our decorations and they mean a lot, but as I said, pick out a few key pieces and don't feel like you've got to use every single one. And my final piece of advice is to start with the tree. The tree is going to be the focal point of the room. Once you've got that decorated, you can see how much more you might need to put into your space just to finish it off and make it feel festive. Don't start with all the little pieces and then do the tree at the end. Do the tree first. So all the decorative items I want to use are in this space around me. It's basically tinsel or sort of streamers for the tree, ornaments like baubles, and then a very small number of decorative items to go around the rest of the room. I'm pretty much keeping my decorating to the living room. Last year I did have a small fir tree that I put on the kitchen table. I still have that. It stayed in its pot all through last year, and it was only about 2 weeks ago we had really bad rain and it didn't react very well, so I brought it in, but it is still struggling. So it's not looking its best, it is still coping, but it's not great, so I'm going to give it some TLC, and if I can bring it back to a nice happy state, I might decorate that, but I'm not decorating upstairs. This is pretty much going to be it. I don't know if this is a bit of a typical British thing, that we store our Christmas ornaments and baubles in old chocolate tins and tubs from Christmas, but my mum always did this and my gran always did this. Last year I went round my gran's and I found the oldest quality street tin, and it was huge. I think it was a 2.5 kilogram tub, and they just don't make them like that anymore. Anyway, let's get on to decorating the tree. So I've arranged all my tree ornaments in front of me, and straight away I can see that any sort of green bauble I'm going to remove. I already feel like that's not something I want putting on my tree. I've got a few sets of things, so I've got 6 of these clear baubles with gold sort of sequiny bits inside. I've got a whole selection of these little acorns. I've got some bells and some stars, along with just some very generic gold baubles. And then I've got a few unique pieces. So I've got a few wooden pieces like this one. I've got 2 of these. One says peace, one says joy. I've got a few glass sort of contained items. Oh, I believe this one lights up. And a few other little bits and pieces. Having looked through all my tree ornaments, I've decided that any sort of green, very generic baubles I'm going to remove. I think the green of the tree provides enough green. So really I am just going with sort of golds and then more natural tones. And I really am thinking that I'm only going to put a small number of ornaments on this tree. Let's do it. So the tree is up and decorated. I decided not to go ahead with tinsel, or I have sort of these gold leaf things that would have gone on the tree that I used last year, but I've decided I don't think it needs it, so I'm not going to bother. So now all that's left to do is add the finishing touches to the rest of the room. And that is me all decorated for Christmas for this year. Let me know in the comments, how are you decorating your house for Christmas? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. That's all from me for this week, and I'll see you next time. Take care, bye!